Thanks again for joining us. For those of you who don't know me, I realize I just kind of jumped right in, just assuming you all know me. But my name's Alicia Mers. I live out here in Portland, Oregon. I'm a coach on Jessica's team. I've been coaching for 3 years now. And a year ago, was able to retire from my full-time job as an office manager. And I now do this whole coaching thing full-time, which is amazing. And one thing I'm super, super passionate about is the coaching opportunity, is recruiting, because it's such a game changer in this business, which is why I volunteered to take this call tonight. And let me just tell you, I was not good at recruiting for a long time. And even that word recruiting, like, I don't know about you, but it made me feel icky. Like I'm going out and like trying to find people, right? So I'm here to try and teach you, number one, like my method, sort of the structure, how I do it, but also the mindset that you need to have going into this. Because if you think that you are annoying somebody, I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody really quick. Hold on. Forgot to do that. So that they don't, mute all. Okay. All right, so we're also going to talk a little bit about mindset around recruiting too, because I know for me, when I first started, I would do everything else in the business, right? I could do all the vital behaviors, I could post on social media, I could run challenge groups, but I was not inviting to coaching, like at all. Like I'd be like, oh, I'll just invite to challenge groups, or I'll do anything but that. But it wasn't until I started adding coaches to my team that my business started to grow. And I know you guys are all here. You're in this group, in this Diamond Dash group, because you want to build an amazing business, right? You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here pushing hard, plugging in every day, doing these daily tasks that we're giving you that are not always easy. You wouldn't be here if you didn't want to have an amazing business, right? You have huge goals, and you're not going to be able to get there by just retailing Shakeology and signing up customers. Just period. That's not how the business works. You have to have business builders. So in order to have business builders, you have to actually talk about coaching. You have to invite people to coaching. And that might seem overly simplistic, right? But it really is. You're going to hear all the time, this business is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple, right? So in regards to recruiting, you have to talk about coaching, and you have to invite people to coaching. Simple, ta-da! Okay, so how do we do this? Number one, if you are following our daily actions in the group every single day, which you should be doing, right? And I know you're on the call tonight, so you guys are the people that are doing it because you're showing up. So high five to you. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so you'll notice in there, we're having you talk about coaching a lot, right? And for most of you, you might be like, oh my God, are my friends so sick of me talking about coaching? Like, am I just vomiting coaching all over them? I feel like I just did a coaching breadcrumb post. I just did a lifestyle post. I just did a coaching call to action post. And that's because most people were super comfortable talking about health and fitness, right? We can post sweaty selfies and Shakeology selfies all day long, but we don't talk about coaching. So if all you're talking about is your challenge groups and your fitness and your health, that's all people hear about. So a big part of recruiting is talking about it on social media. Because if you don't, and you go to invite somebody through a personal message, they're going to be like, what are you talking about, girl? I don't even know like where you're coming from, right? But if you've been following along, you're doing all these posts, you're doing the breadcrumbs about coaching. So you're finding little ways to drip in your life, what it's doing for you, how it's changed your life throughout the day, but without being like, join my team, it's awesome, right? You're just finding little ways to continue to put it in front of people. And then once a week, you do one big post about how coaching has changed your life. And it doesn't matter if you've been a coach for a week or a month or 2 years, you have a story, you have a transformation and something that coaching has done for you. So don't let that hold you back, because it held me back for so long. I would look at my coach Jessie and I'd be like, well, I'm not making 6 figures yet. What do I have to talk about? You know, I haven't retired my husband yet. What do I have to talk about? And so I wouldn't talk about anything, right? And that's literally like shooting yourself in the foot. You have something to talk about. Like, even if you just signed up yesterday, right? You have why you signed up as a coach. You have this community. I know for me, I finally had hope and purpose for the first time in my life. So whatever it is, you can share about that on social media. So if you are following our daily posts, we got you covered, right? It's going to be super easy. All you have to do is show up, go into the group, and share. And if you're struggling with that, if you're like, I don't know what an engagement boost post is, like tell me, post in the group, right? So you've got your social media covered. You're talking about what coaching is doing for you. You're talking, you're giving people little sneak peeks into your life. That's what we call the breadcrumb post. So it's not all like this in your face all the time. So people are seeing this, and people need to see things like 7 or 8 times, I think is the statistics, in order for it to actually go in. So that's why we're having you talk about it so much. So even though to you it might feel like, oh my God, over the top, most people don't see like 90% of your posts, right? So we have to talk about it a lot, daily and weekly, so people are continuing to see, like, what is this girl doing? Why is she so excited about it? Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And maybe they start thinking that they can do it too, okay? So your social media, number 1, is a really important part. Number 2 is the invite. You have to actually ask, okay? I've been a coach now for 3 years. I have hundreds and hundreds of coaches on my team, and I think maybe a handful have actually reached out to me on their own and said, tell me about coaching, okay? Every single other one of them came from me privately messaging them. So either a customer that converted to a coach, and that's gonna be a whole nother call, or somebody who I personally invited. And I used to get so caught up on the coach invite process, okay? So raise your hand. Are you the same way? If you're like, I don't know what to say. I don't know who to say it to. This is scary. I think I'll just, go work out or something, right? Like I was there too. And so we avoid it, and we avoid it, and we avoid it, and we avoid it. And then months have gone by and you haven't invited one person to coaching, right? Okay. But first off, mindset. I want you to think about, what has coaching done to you? And where would your life be if your coach did not invite you? I know for me, I would still be stuck working a 9-to-5 job. I would still be saying goodbye to my children every day and leaving. I wouldn't be all tan like I was. Like my husband, this is funny. My husband told me the other day, he's like, I don't think you've been this tan since we were dating in college. And I'm like, and we went to college in Arizona, and I'm like, yeah, because I just get to like lay out by the river and take my kids to the pool and go on the boat, because I became a coach 3 years ago and I hustled my ass off. So why would I not want to share about that with everybody else? And I know for me, I had a couple hangups. One, I thought they were totally going to judge me and think that I was like drinking the Kool-Aid and stupid because I was in network marketing. And number 2, I just assumed that they would say no. And number 3, or that they wouldn't be interested, right? But who are you to decide, right? Who are you to prejudge? Who are you to, as somebody, there's this great quote that said, like, don't hold somebody else's future in your mouth. So what I do when I look about coach invites is, it's not my job to explain everything to them. It's not my job to convince them that this is the best opportunity for them. It's my job to make them know that this is an option. That's all you have to do, guys. So instead of getting hung up on what to say or how to say it or who to say it to, just think about, like, I just want them to know that this is out there. So the more simple your invites are, the better, right? I know when I first started, I used to send like paragraphs. It's scary sometimes when they come up and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I used to send that. Keep it super, super, super simple. Like literally all you need to do is ask, have you ever thought about being a coach like me? Okay. And we have tons of scripts. So I'm not going to go into like exactly what to say, because I can literally copy and paste it and put it into the group. I just want to share my process with you now from the beginning to the end. Okay. So somebody says, yes, I'm interested. And I know in the past, I used to totally freak out too. Like, I don't know if you guys ever done this, like somebody says yes, and you're like, oh shit, they said yes. Now what? And you like want to run away from your computer because you're like, what if I mess it up? Oh, crap. So totally used to be me, all right? So hopefully this really helps you have confidence in knowing how to help take somebody from the invite when they say yes, all the way to them joining your team. So somebody says yes, the next thing I'm going to ask you to do is get them on the phone. Oh, did you just die a little bit inside? I don't know, maybe you're like rock stars on the phone. I used to be terrified to get on the phone, like, oh, it scared the crap out of me. Because again, I thought I was supposed to convince them about that coaching was awesome. So making me a salesperson, right? Or I was gonna have to answer like 5 million questions and I wouldn't know one question and then they would disappear, right? But once you know my method, and this is when I've learned from a ton of other network marketers, this is not just like I didn't come up with this, but it's awesome. You'll realize like how simple it is and how much pressure it takes off of you. So all you're gonna do is when somebody says, yes, that sounds awesome, I would love to know more, you're just gonna write back, great, I would love to share more about this with you. When do you have 5 to 10 minutes free in the next couple days? And then they're going to message you back. You arrange a time to get on the phone. And then once you get on the phone with them, you're going to follow this structure. It's really, really easy. You're going to get on the phone, and I usually like chit chat back and forth for maybe like a minute or two, like, hey, how you doing? What have you been up to? So excited to connect, blah, blah, blah. Then you're going to go into what is called What's in It for Them. And this girl, this is an amazing, amazing book. If you don't have it already, get over your damn self. It's the bomb. She uses this method too. You'll find a lot of other top network marketers do it themselves as well. And each one seems to have their own like spin on it. So, but definitely read the book because she really goes into this a lot, which is awesome. So you're going to go into what's in it for them. And basically what that is what is coaching going to do for them? And if this is somebody you don't really know very well, just go and stalk their Facebook profile ahead of time. So for me, I connect with a lot of moms. I connect with a lot of yoga instructors. So when I get on the phone, I'm just going to say something like, hey girl, I am so glad that we connected today. I love sharing about what I do with other moms because I know how hard it is to juggle a full-time job and being a mom. And I've been able to help women exactly like you create a side hustle that allows them to earn extra money every week or even replace a full-time income. And is this something that you would like to learn more about? And they always say yes because they're on the phone. They wouldn't be interested if they weren't, if they were, they're not going to say no. And then you're going to go into your story. And you're going to share, it's going to be 1 minute. You're going to wrap your whole story into 1 minute. And I know that's crazy, but if you follow this system, it's really, really easy. Because I know when I first started, I was like, my whole story, do I start like when I was born? And this is going to take a long time, But people, they don't really like, they just want to know what's in it for them, okay? So for me, if I'm talking to a fellow mom, I'm going to kind of gear my story a little bit towards them. But basically what you want to encompass is, number one, where, like basically who you are, right? And where have you been? So what did you used to do before you were a coach? Because so often people see us on social media, right? And they just think that you've always been a coach, you've always been doing this. So you want to share with them where you used to be. So for me, I'm going to say something like, for 10 years, I was an office manager. I was working the typical 9 to 5. And I thought that's what I wanted until I had children. And then you're going to share where were you in your life? What were you frustrated about, right? Like, why were you looking for something like coaching? What wasn't working for you? And so for me, it's going to be something like, once I became a mom, I hated having my schedule dictated by somebody else. I hated having to leave my children every day. I felt frustrated that my income potential was limited. So just something like that. And I will probably gear it a little bit towards who I'm talking to, right? But you want to say things that people are going to relate to in that. Then you're going to say, how you heard about coaching and why you wanted to be a part of it. So for me, I would say something like, a friend of mine reached out and told me about this, and I really saw it as an answer to what I was struggling with. I saw it as a way to be able to replace that income while being super flexible with my hours. And then you're going to go into what it's done or what it's doing for you. So I could say something like, in 2 years, I was able to match the income I was making as an office manager and quit that job, and I now work from home full time. So if you're a new coach, right, maybe you've only been coaching for a couple months and you're like, I haven't done any big financial goals like that. You can say something about, I paid my electric bill this month. After 1 month as a coach, I earned my investment back and I paid for my kids to have riding lessons, or, just whatever that is, and then paint the picture of where you're going, or you can share somebody else's story. So you can say what you've done, in 1 month I paid back my investment and I paid my electric bill, and I'm super inspired by my coach who, after 5 years is earning 6 figures. Something super simple like that. And then this is the final thing, and don't worry, I will give you guys a document where this is all written out. So the very final thing is you want to say how you've been successful, because so many people will look at you or, me or whoever who's been doing this for a long time, and they'll think, oh, it's just because she has something I don't, right? Oh, it's because she's more confident than me. Oh, she's more fit than me. Oh, she's whatever, because we're really good at coming up with those kind of excuses. So you want to say something like, the reason I was able to be so successful is the training we have in place, both from our team and from corporate, is so simple that anybody can follow it. That's just, super simple. So what you want to do is, once you have sort of this framework of what you want to say or what you should say in your story, write it all out and then just practice it over and over and over and really try and get it in that 1 minute. And I know it's hard because you want to elaborate and you want to say more, but really try and keep it as concise as you can, because as soon as you can, you want to stop talking on these calls. And as soon as you can, you want to turn it over and make it all about the other person, okay? So all you've done is you've said hello, you've told them what's in it for them, you've shared your story, and now you want to get to know them. So in the same way that we get to know people about, for challenge packs or for challenge groups, right? You want to know, why are they interested? Where are they at in their life that they're looking for something more? So the more that you can dig deep, the more questions that you can get, the better it's going to be, right? Because you're going to have a better understanding of where they're at. So notice that I haven't even said anything about the company. I haven't said anything about what we do as coaches. I really don't go into any details. You really want to use third-party tools for the details, okay? And this is awesome because it takes the pressure off of you. So after that, after you feel like you have a good idea of, where they're at and what they're looking for, you're going to say something like, I think this would be an amazing fit for you. I would love to share more information about this with you that's going to just give you more details into coaching. Does that sound like does that sound like something you would be interested in? And they always say yes. And I've never had anybody say no, because if they get on the call with you, they're very interested. So you're going to say, okay, awesome. If I sent you a video, when would you be able to watch it? And this is really, really important. You want them to tell you when they're going to watch the video. And they may say something like, I could watch it tonight at 7 o'clock. And you're going to say, okay, awesome. So you can watch it tonight at 7, right? And they're going to say yes. Again, you're getting them to confirm this appointment in their head, because then they're way more likely to actually do it. If you make them they pick the time, they're committing to do it. So then you'll say something like, okay, great. So if I follow up with you tomorrow at 2 o'clock, you'll have watched the video. And they'll say, yes, awesome, click. And then you're going to send them a third-party tool. You can send them webinars that we've done. You can add them into a sneak peek we've done. You can send them the 7-minute what is Beachbody coaching video. There's plenty of resources you can send them. So you're going to send that over to them. They're going to watch it. And then sometimes I get back on the phone with people. Sometimes I just continue over chat. It kind of just depends on them and their schedule. If they're if they're like busy the next day, I don't want it to go really, really long. So sometimes we'll just chat. And then you're just going to get back and say, hey, what did you like about the video? And now is another like super, super cool thing, okay? This is where we're going to transfer into a 3-way call, because you don't want to be the person answering all their questions. And I've heard another network marketer refer to it as the valley of death. When you get on the phone with somebody and they just ask you like question after question after question, you can't seem to get off. So you don't want to be in that position. Number one, because it's not very much fun. And number two is throughout this entire process, you are basically modeling what that person is going to have to do if they decide to become a coach. So if you're on the phone with them for an hour answering questions about the compensation plan and, you know, how we sign up people and all these questions, maybe you might feel pretty awesome, like, look at me go, I know all these answers, right? But in their mind, they're thinking, I'm going to have to be able to do that to be a successful coach. And so throughout this whole process, you want to be demonstrating to them how easy it is. Okay, so all you've had to do so far is tell them why they'd be a good coach, tell them your story, ask them questions, send them a third-party resource. Okay, now after they watch the resource, if they have further questions, most people do, you're going to get on a 3-way call with your upline. And why you're going to do that is now the upline is answering the questions for your prospect. So again, it's showing this person, oh, I just have to get on the phone with my upline and they answer the questions. Easy, right? So you're going to get on the phone, you're going to schedule a 3-way with your upline, and we don't call it a 3-way actually in the conversation, or else that can, you know, lead to some other interesting conversations. Especially like if you have husbands. One time my husband came home and I was like, I had the best 3-way today, babe. And he's like, oh, I don't know about that. So anyways, once you get on the phone with your upline, you're going to do a brief introduction, basically introducing the two to each other, you know, why your prospect wants to be a coach, why you think they would be awesome, sort of again, that like what's in it for them, introduce them to your upline, and then your upline is going to take it from there. And they're going to answer your prospect's questions, and all you have to do is shut up and be quiet. Like literally zip your lips and let your upline go. They're going to answer all the questions, and at the end, your upline's going to ask them, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no way, this is not for me, I'm out, and 10 being I want to sign up right now, where are you? And your prospect's going to answer. Right? Either I'm a 1 or I'm a 4 or a 6 or a 9. And if they're ready to get signed up, you can sign them up on the phone, or you can, you know, sometimes they need to talk to their husband or whatever, and you can sign them up the next day. Then you're going to make an appointment for that next day to follow up again. So that literally is the whole process that I go through each and every single time with a coach prospect. And I know I used to be really scared to get on the phone, and I used to just hide behind my computer and throw people into sneak peeks, be like, yay, you want to know about coaching? Cool, go check it out over there. And then it would be like crickets. They would never get back to me, and I would just be sitting there like, well, you said you were interested, but that's all I got, you know? And so if you do it this way, you're going to know why they want to be coaching, why they want to be coaches, why they will be good at it, where they're at in their life, and it really helps to build that connection and that rapport with people that you just can't get behind Messenger. Because when they get on the phone, they're going to hear your excitement, they're going to hear your emotion, you're going to get to know them way quicker than you could through Messenger. So I know I just threw a ton of information at you guys, and like I said, I have this all in a Google Doc with scripts that I use and the whole process from beginning to end, so I can totally send that to you. But we just have 10 minutes left, so I want to unmute everybody and ask if you guys all have any questions for me. Okay, Nicole.
Hi. So I guess my question is this, and I know everybody's at a different pace or at a different level, that kind of thing. When Let's see, how do I say this? And I know I can be flexible, but I guess the question is, if you have coaches signed up already and you're a rabbit per se, I don't know how else to describe it, but they're not, they signed up, they kind of like the idea, they're really a turtle or one that walks backwards maybe, or one with a broken foot. I don't know how to describe them, but they show up. They are encouraging. They do everything that I actually do. And that's one of the reasons that I said you would absolutely rock at being a coach. And they're just trying to find, here's the question. They're just trying to find their own way kind of a thing. I guess I would love to hear how you would approach them to, light a fire under their shell or something. How do I help them move forward? Because they're not doing what I'm doing. And that's the vital behaviors. They work out, they shake, they're inviting friends to Facebook. They're not really commenting that much on, their workout, but we're working on posting. They're just really a turtle. And I just know all they have to do is cross that finish line and then boom, they're going to take off. How do you encourage your turtles?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I have a couple different answers for you depending on how you want to approach it.
Okay.
Number one, you have to focus on you.
Okay.
Number one. And you always have to be doing your vital behaviors. It's like putting your oxygen mask on first. Right. Every single day you are out there looking for your runners. Okay. So, because if you're not, I love this analogy. It always worked well for me because I'm the same way, right? I totally get you. But imagine you're driving in your car, right? And you're driving in your car and you're like going on a path and you're super excited. You're going on a road trip. You're like, yeah, this is awesome. And you've got your coaches with you and you're all going together. And then you look in your rearview mirror and some of your coaches are back there sitting on the curb, right? So you slam on the brakes, stop the car, you get out, you run back there, you sit down on the curb and you're like, hey buddy, what's going on? Why are we back here? And now you have lost all forward momentum. The train has stopped and you're sitting here on the curb talking to these coaches, right? Number one, you have to be focused on your journey, moving forward, finding people with you, and not looking back over your shoulder. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't still give them attention. You don't still let them know that you're here to support them and to encourage them, because you absolutely are. But you cannot make anybody work, right? You cannot make them show up every day.
Right. Number
two is I would get on the phone call with them and really dive into their vision. What is their vision for their life? What is their vision for this opportunity? And if you can really help them see that, if you can really help them paint sort of that picture for where they want to go, then that's going to inspire them to then push, to do the necessary things, right? But you can't be there at 4 a.m. every day being like, get up, time to do your vital behaviors.
Right.
They have to want it bad enough to go there. And then third, sometimes you have to have a hard conversation. So if you already know their why, you already know their vision, sometimes you have to be like the bad coach and get on the phone and be like, look, Susie, like you told me you wanted, I'll just use me as an example. You told me you wanted to be able to quit your full-time job to be home with your kids every day, but you're not showing up to build this business. Why? And that's hard, but sometimes if you can help people see that they said they want to do this and they're not, it can be the best thing ever for them.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So a couple of things I was just going to say. So out of that, I just really got that I do need to focus on me. And I think it's because I just know, or I would have never even presented it to her. I'm that kind of person that I'm not going to judge. You're going to come to me. If you really want something, you're going to come to me, kind of that hard nose. It is what it is. And I'm attracting my tribe. But the reality is this girl is just, God, she's getting.
Oh, she just froze. Well, I was going to say really quick on top of that is you can't want it more for somebody than they want it for themselves. Mm-hmm. I've had so many people join my team and I'm like, she's going to be a freaking rock star, and nothing. It just happens. It happens. And again, you have to stay focused on your own journey, your own path, or you're just going to end up sitting on the curb wondering where everybody went. But Shayna, you wanted to add something?
Yeah. So I was actually talking to Jessie about this because this is, and just so you know, like if you're experiencing
results, was she posted? Sorry, you broke up a little bit.
I was just gonna say everybody experiences this. It's not just you. It's not just new coaches. The most seasoned coaches in the like Lindsay Matway has had like 9-star diamonds walk away. I mean, it happens. Life comes up. People have different reasons for working the business and not working the business. But another thing to be making sure of is that, make sure you're leading by example. If you want your people to be hitting Success Club 5, you need to be hitting Success Club 10 plus because they're only going to do about half of what you're doing. So you need to work about twice as hard as you want your team to work. You need to look at what you're doing every day and say, okay, if all my coaches on my team were doing what I'm doing every day, would they be successful? Because only you know behind the scenes if you're truly doing what it takes to build your business.
Absolutely. All right. Anybody else have any other questions?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
For the people that we had signed up for discount coaching, just to start with, and they might be, people we already have a relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
How do you suggest tailoring the system to people that we already know and have that relationship with, that already are technically coaches, but they're only maybe a discount coach for right now?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it depends on how the conversation started and where they're at. So say they just signed up for the discount, you haven't even talked about coaching, and they're rocking it in your challenge group. I would just reach out and say like, hey girl, you are freaking amazing in our challenge groups. I love how, you're showing up every day. You're motivating everybody. You're already doing all the things that I'm doing as a coach. You're just not getting paid for it. And then you can say something like, have you ever thought about coaching like me? Or have you ever thought about being a coach like me?
Okay.
Super simple. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does. Absolutely.
Good. Yeah. I think literally like we get really, really stuck in the how-tos, and it's so simple. Literally, like all you're doing is asking somebody, have you ever thought about being a coach? It doesn't matter if they're a discount coach or if, you've known them for 3 years or you met them last week. Like all you're doing is asking, have you ever thought about this? Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I love the quote, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That one's bolstered my confidence a lot.
I'll be scared.
I have a quick question, Alicia.
Yeah.
So I think I struggle the most with the first step, like finding the person who says yes.
Yeah.
So where do you start at finding your tribe? Like that's been my biggest struggle is like, sure, I'll ask them if they want to be a coach. Yeah, I'll get them on the phone call. Yeah, I'll do the 3-way phone call with my upline.
Uh-huh.
But I don't have anybody saying yes.
Uh-huh. You don't have anybody saying yes?
No.
No? Yeah. And
when they do say yes, they like back out. Like they're like, oh wait, never mind.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a great question. And I always think it's like a whole other call, finding your tribe. Like that's a huge subject. For me, I think it really comes down to who are you connecting with? Who are you trying to find? Which is you, right? Like you're trying to find other ones of you. So how can you find them and where can you find them? And how can you start connecting with them? And I truly think once you really start following this system, like once you really start using the daily posts that we're doing, you really start breadcrumbing coaching, you really start talking about what it's doing for you to the point where it's like seems insane, that's when you start seeing the biggest shift. When I saw the biggest shift in my ability to recruit coaches, like even right to the opportunity, not going through the challenge group, when I started talking about coaching on my page all the time, like almost daily finding ways to bring coaching up. Because if you're not talking about it, they don't know. They don't know what it's done for you, and why would they want to do something they don't know anything about? So definitely finding your tribe is like a whole nother subject, because I could go on for hours on how I find my people. And maybe we need to add that in here.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely helps when you're talking to your people.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely understand that. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm not really answering your question because we only have 3 minutes left. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I think the Coach 2 basics training has been helping with the Instagram training that's been going on. But at the same time, I'm like, I still feel like I'm talking to everybody and not just somebody.
So you feel like your message is not really tailored yet?
Yeah, because I feel like I have a huge range of people who are following me, and it's like, I can't talk to all of them. I want to speak to this one person that's so quiet, never likes anything, and I know there's that person there, but how do you find them? And I know that means just going through my friends list and asking and inviting and.
I mean, I literally would use the Instagram training for sure and just start talking like you are talking to that person. Like your entire friends list is that person. And that's how they will find you. That's how they'll connect with you.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. And maybe Brad and I will talk about maybe doing one about finding your tribe, because that is super important to be able to have the right audience to talk to.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 more minutes. Anybody else have any questions? Did this all make sense? Was this helpful? Yes?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Questions, anybody? 1 minute. No? Nothing? Are you guys ready to rock? Okay. I know Shane and I talked about this before, and Brad was off vacationing for a couple days, but we wanted to give a little incentive for you guys. So the very first person who schedules a 3-way with their upline is going to win an awesome prize. So all you have to do is go through this process, schedule a 3-way with your upline, and then maybe just post it in the group. Like, I scheduled a 3-way with my upline on whatever day. Whoever is the first one to do that we decided on the Amazon gift card, right, Shayna?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna get a $25 Amazon gift card for being the very first person to do this. And why we're doing this is just to incentivize you guys, just to have some fun, just to make you push outside your comfort zone. I know I'm super motivated